welcome. Today I'm going to test the Clinique Even Better Refresh Foundation. This is not exactly new. I think this has come out last spring, if I'm right. For some reason I haven't seen anyone talk about it, and when I read the claims of it, it sounded like a perfect foundation to me, so I'm really curious to test how it wears. The facts of the foundation: average 30 milliliters, which is 1 fluid ounce liquid. The price is around 32 American dollars. It was 37.50 euros here in Finland. It says to be hydrating and repairing. There is hyaluronic acid and peptides to plump the skin, nurture it, hydrate it, and then there is also salicylic acid to even out the texture in the skin. So it does seem like that if you use it constantly, your skin is going to get more hydrated and even. But today I'm going to do one wear this to see how it lasts on my skin. I prime my face with Guerlain Meteorites primer. This is the one I always use with foundation tests. I don't use now any pore filling primer, I usually do, but just to see how the makeup lasts on unfilled pores. And also I do have eyeglasses, so there will be these eyeglasses pads, which never looks good, but we'll see. There is a little bit of differences. I have the lightest shade. This is Cien Cool Neutral 0.75 Custard. There is 27 shades and it does lean the scale to the fair medium side. There is a few deeper tones, but at least to me those didn't look very deep. So unfortunately it does lean to the light side. And also, if this is the fairest, so if you are very fair, even fairer than I am, there won't be shade for you. But let's go testing this. It comes in a squeezy tube, which is quite typical to Clinique, and there is a safety seal as well, which is always appreciated. It is quite a thick formula, so it doesn't move much on my plate. It does look really fair, but I did swatch this in store next to my cheeks, so it should be okay. It is a bit to the fair side, but I prefer to have a bit too fair foundation rather than too dark, because I can always warm it up with bronzer. I actually don't know what's the coverage supposed to be, so we'll see. It does feel a little bit tacky. It's not at all slippery, which is kind of good news. It usually means that the foundation is going to last a bit longer. I have read some reviews of it and they were a bit mixed. There was people who loved it and then there was people who didn't like it at all. And also the coverage side, some said that it's going to be very full, some said it's not full at all, it's too light for them. So this is interesting to see what it actually is. Some said that it did dry on them a lot, some say that there is a lot of hydration. So very different reviews. It does look really white on my monitor, but on real life it looks surprisingly okay. I think this is one of those that it does seem to oxidize a little bit, so hopefully it will oxidize to be exactly great one for me. looks dry. I am surprised about that. I did expect to have, if there is a hydrating foundation, that's usually synonym to glowy as well. But this is, there's no glow in this foundation, and recently I've been using so much glowy foundation, so this does look strange. If you have dry patches, this does seem to cling to those a bit. Oh, by the way, the brush is Smashbox. I always forget. Blurring foundation brush, which I use pretty much always. This is very interesting. It looks great on my dry cheek area, but here where I have pores and a little bit of texture, it does look a bit kind of dry. Maybe it's not so much dry as more like a little bit of makeup-y. On my chin there is definitely a danger of looking a bit cakey as well. It does stick to my problematic nose quite well. Not the best one, but definitely not the worst. It does feel like dry on my skin. This is very, very, very interesting one. I'll try to smooth it a little bit with my sponge. Let's see if this helps. This is dry. I always use this one dry. This is not a beauty blender. This is from a Finnish department store brand, Icon from Sokos. I really love these for especially smoothing my foundation. Going over with sponge definitely helps with the textured areas. It does look smoother and it goes into the skin quite well. Cheeks are still looking great. But it does feel quite dry. This is very surprising, and definitely it is sticking to my dry patches, so interesting to see how it's worse during the day. It might be a disaster, but it might be that it really lasts well and kind of doesn't dry. Some these kind of almost dry looking foundations end up looking really good at the end of the day. I have a little bit of a problem redness peeking through from my nose, and it doesn't stick fully, so I will fix that and do rest of my makeup, and then I'll leave my kind of first experience after applying makeup, that how it behaved with the rest of my face products and everything. So I'll come back with those, and then I'll do at least one check-in during the day and then in the evening. It is now 11:30, so I try to have it on at least 8 hours. So, but now rest of my makeup and I'll be back. The foundation looks exactly as it was half an hour ago, so not much has changed. I do notice that the shade has deepened just a tiny bit. I would say half a shade maybe. It does match my décolleté, my neck really well. So shade wise everything is going well. I did powder this side, my nose and my chin. I didn't powder anywhere else. So we'll see if the powdering makes any difference, but at least now I can't see any difference on those. On my cheeks I didn't powder, I used just cream products. And I have to mention I used this very thick cream highlighter from Korento, and it didn't move my foundation at all. And this is a product that tends to do that whenever I apply it with a brush. So if it's at all slippery foundation, it will kind of slip under this. But because this felt so kind of stuck to my skin, I wanted to test this and everything went really well. I also used cream bronzer just a little bit and cream blush, and it stuck with all of those, so no problems with those. There is a little bit of heaviness on top of my lip and on my chin. it does seem like if you have texture, it kind of builds up and looks a bit cakey. My cheeks, which are very dry, are looking very, very good. Almost starting to look glowy, so I have high hopes that this is the one which kind of warms next to your skin and then start to look better and better during the day. But we'll see that. I'll do check-ins during the day to see how it wears and then final results in the evening. But now, next check-in. The foundation has been on now for 5 hours, and what I hoped for have actually happened mostly. The foundation is more softer. It has warmed up next to my skin, and I can see more kind of luminosity from, so the dryness has gone down, and now I have very, very beautiful foundation everywhere else but my chin. It has separated just a tiny bit on my chin, which is visible only if you watch closely. So from the distance it still looks good, but from close distance I can see that there is this separation, which is something I could have predicted in the morning, because it didn't apply well on textured skin. So the texture has now kind of separated, so that's what's causing it. That's something that can be fixed with primer and skincare mostly. If you have very textured skin, I think this might not be for you, but at least for now it feels really good for dry skin, combination skin, mature skin. Oily skin, I don't know. If you have oily skin and have tested this, let me know in the comments. It would be interesting to see. At least my nose area, this crease is the oiliest part of my face, and it's still looking really good. It is a bit glowy, but nothing major. Oh, the powder thing, I forgot to check that. There is a small difference. I powdered this side of my nose and didn't, and it is a bit more glowy on this side. So a little bit of powder does help, obviously. So on my chin I can't see that much different, but I did use quite small amount of the powder. So far everything is looking good. For 5 hours, no powder mostly. My cheeks are looking really, really good, also my forehead. So I have high hopes that this might be a great one. It also, I'm thinking about the skincare thing of the hyaluronic acid and peptides and salicylic acid. I actually can imagine now that this does improve. It looks like skincare, if that makes any sense. It might not, but it does look like that there is something happening. That's probably what's going on, because it's not getting oily, it's just looking healthier, more even. Very, very good. So high hopes. I will have this on at least for 3 more hours, if not more, and then we'll know what's the situation is then. But I'll be back. It's now 9 o'clock, so the foundation has been on for 9.5 hours, so we can safely say that this is looking quite good. It has gone more soft and glowy and a bit oily looking, but it's not oily still. To me this is just glowy foundation. The kind of separation on my chin actually has got better. It has still separated, but it has kind of melted to my skin, so it looks more even. Forehead, cheeks are looking great. Absolutely great. Next to my nose there is oiliness, still a bit more in the no powder side, a bit less in the powdered side. On chin there is no difference of the powdered sides. One thing I have noticed that when I wear my glasses, I can still feel that there's that stickiness, that my glasses don't slide on my nose, which usually happens at this time of day. So this foundation still grabs on my skin and doesn't move anywhere, which is very interesting. But there is few things I want to try. First is it does transfer well, which is not surprising. It is kind of getting melted, so it's bound to kind of transfer. But I wanted to try. Yes. This is again dry sponge, no extra foundation, no nothing. And I can just smooth this foundation and it looks really, really good. Like, really good. Let's see the nose. I can kind of push it back in and the sponge, it takes all the extra oiliness away, and I could easily wear 3-4 extra hours again without no problems with this. I'm very, there is just a tiny bit of cakiness next to my nose, which is not a surprise at this time of day. But I'm very impressed. This is looking really good. It's applying. I can easily touch up without no extra product, without no piling. If I would powder this would last a long time. So definitely a thumbs up. Great shade for fair skin. Beautiful foundation all through 9 hours. It stays on. I'm really happy. I've been so impressed about the foundations I've been testing this season. I link those videos below because there is so many great foundations. I just can't believe where all these great foundations came from. But now it's time to wish you have a great day and see you next time. Bye bye.